All right, let's talk about transforming the way you study. I mean, really transforming it. We're going to move away from those stressful late night cram sessions that, let's be honest, don't really work. Instead, we're going to build a system, a new way to learn that feels strategic, confident, and yeah, actually powerful.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You put in the hours, you feel like you know the material inside and out, but the second that exam hits your desk, the pressure's on, and poof, it's like the file you need just vanished from your brain. It's so frustrating, and it's easy to think it's about you. But what if I told you it has way less to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you prepare your mind?
So first up, we've got the foundation, your brain's operating system. Before we get into any of the fancy learning techniques, we have to start with the absolute non-negotiable basics. Seriously, think of it like this. If your brain's operating system is laggy or full of bugs, none of the cool apps you try to run on top of it are going to work right. We have to get this foundation solid first. Managing that pre-test anxiety is always step one. It's all about controlling the story you're telling yourself in your head. Instead of, I can't do this, you switch it to, hey, I've prepared for this, I can do this. And this isn't just some feel-good advice. Research actually shows that this simple mind shift can help regulate anxiety and boost your performance. So you combine that with simple things like getting your bag ready the night before, and you're already walking in with a calmer, more focused brain. But now for the real game changer. You can have the most positive mindset in the world, but if you're running on fumes, your brain is working with one hand tied behind its back. See, when you're in that deep REM sleep, your brain is busy. It's actively sorting and filing away the day's information. It's literally consolidating your memories. Sleep isn't a luxury you earn. It's a non-negotiable biological requirement for learning. And the science on this is crystal clear. Take a look at this number. Now, this comes from a recent study on sleep and kids' school performance. It's what's called a correlation coefficient, and all you need to know is that negative 0.63 is a strong connection. It basically means that as one thing goes up, the other thing definitely goes down. So, what does that number actually mean for you? It's simple, really. It shows this powerful, direct relationship. The study found, plain as day, that as the quality of a student's sleep went down, their academic performance consistently went down right along with it. The takeaway couldn't be clearer. If you want better grades, you have to start with better sleep. It's that simple. And if you want to see what that looks like in the real world, check this out. When the researchers compared the good sleepers to the poor sleepers, the difference was, well, it was huge. A nearly 15-point gap in their GPA. That is not a small dip, you guys. That's the difference between an A- and a C. And it's all tied back to the quality of their rest. All right, our next section is the framework from passive to active learning. So we've got our foundation in place, right? Our mind is calm, our brain is well rested. Now we can actually start building the structure. And this is where we make a crucial shift. We stop just letting information wash over us and start actively participating in our own learning. So think about it. Most of us, our default setting is passive learning. We read the textbook, we highlight some stuff, maybe we rewatch a lecture. And it feels productive, but so much of that info just goes in one ear and right out the other. Active learning is a whole different ballgame. It's about wrestling with the material, questioning it, and actually making it a part of you. What's happening here is that active learning forces your brain to build connections. Your mind stops being just a storage bin for facts and starts becoming a processor. It links new ideas to stuff you already know, and when you do that, you're creating stronger pathways in your brain, which makes that information way easier to pull up when you actually need it, like during an exam. So, how do we do active learning? Well, here's a fantastic framework called the SQ3R method. It basically turns reading from a passive chore into an active investigation. First, you survey the chapter, get the lay of the land. Then, and this is key, you turn the headings into questions. This gives you a mission. Now you're not just reading words, you're hunting for answers. And the last two steps, recite and review, that's where you lock it all in. Okay, now, once you think you've learned something, here's the ultimate stress test, the Feynman technique. The idea is so simple but so powerful. If you can't explain a concept in simple terms, you don't really get it yet. This technique is genius because it's specifically designed to shine a big, bright spotlight on the gaps in your own knowledge. It's this beautiful four-step loop. You try to teach it, right? And you'll immediately find those spots where you get a little fuzzy or start using complicated jargon. That's your cue. That's when you go back to the book, you fill in that gap, you simplify your explanation, and you try again. Each time you go through that cycle, your understanding gets sharper and clearer. Okay, we have our foundation, we have our framework. Now it's time for the final piece, a technique so powerful it almost feels like a cheat code, a superpower. Let's talk about building a memory palace. This is called the method of loci, and it's been around forever. We're talking ancient Greek and Roman orators using this to memorize incredibly long speeches. How does it work? Well, it taps into something our brains are already amazing at: spatial memory. We are so good at remembering places we know well, and this method just leverages that natural built-in ability.
And it's not just some old trick. Modern neuroscientists have studied this extensively. This quote from O'Keefe and Nadel nails it. The key here is that you're not just storing random facts. You are creating a mental journey. You place bits of information along a familiar path, and that gives them structure and context, which makes them so much easier to find later.
So, how do you actually build one? Step 1, choose your palace. This needs to be a place you know like the back of your hand, a place you can walk through in your mind's eye with total clarity. Your home is perfect. The route you take to school or work, your favorite park. The more detailed and familiar it is, the better. Okay, step 2. Now you have to identify your anchor points, or loci. You mentally walk through your palace and pick out very specific features in a logical order. So your front door is number 1, the little table in the hallway is number 2, the big comfy sofa is number 3. You have to follow a natural path, the same one you'd walk in real life. That sequence is what keeps your information in the right order. And now for step 3, this is where the magic really happens. You take whatever you need to remember and you create a bizarre, vivid, totally unforgettable mental image for it. Then you stick that image onto one of your locations. So let's say you need to remember Isaac Newton for a physics test, and your first location is the front door. You might imagine a giant talking apple crashing through your front door. The more absurd, the more ridiculous, the better it sticks. All right, let's bring this all together. Our final section, conclusion, becoming a strategic learner. We've gone on a pretty cool journey, right? All the way from the basic biology of your brain to some of the most advanced memory techniques used by world champions. So here it is, your complete structure for learning. It all starts with the foundation, a calm mind and good sleep. You can't build a skyscraper on shaky ground. Then you build the framework on top of that, using active methods like SQ3R to make sure you truly understand the material. And finally, you add the advanced architecture, like a memory palace, giving you the power to store and recall incredible amounts of information. I want you to think of this as your personal toolkit. Each one of these techniques has a specific job. Feeling that pretest anxiety creep in? You've got your breathing and self-talk. Staring at a super dense textbook chapter? That's a job for SQ3R. Need to memorize a long list of historical dates or the periodic table? Time to build a memory palace. You now have a strategy for pretty much any learning challenge that comes your way. And that really is the most important thing to take away from all this. Effective learning isn't some gift you're either born with or you're not. It is a skill. It's a set of tools that anyone can practice and master. So the only question left is, with this new toolkit at your disposal, what do you want to master next? The choice is all yours.